All right, so here's your warm-up. Complete the warm-up in your notebook, quietly on your own. Given the following diagrams and numbers, write what you see in words. So go ahead and press pause, answer this in your notebook, and then press play. So for the first one, when I see it, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would just be 4 stars. This is 350. So I would write that out in words. And lastly, I see 15. So all we're doing is taking what we see and putting words to it. Here's your target. Today I can identify keywords using translating by scoring at least a 5 out of 6 on an exit ticket. So here are some notes that are going to be provided for you. This is just a little graphic. A lot of the stuff we've already went over. So if you look at the middle, it's translating. Translating is when you take words and turn it into a math problem, or you take a math problem and you write it out in words. So here you have addition, so there's your symbol. Some words that mean addition are plus, increase by, more than, total. Subtraction, decrease by, subtracted from, minus, less than. Multiplication, here's a word of. If you double something, twice, product. Division, quotient, divided by, half, separated into the word over. Inequalities. So these are a little different. So you have to pay close attention to these. If it says less than, this is a symbol. Less than or equal to. This would say at the most. No more than. A maximum. So this is where people get kind of tricked up. So you have to be careful when you're reading these. If it's greater than or greater than or equal to, the words you may see are at least, no less than, or a minimum. Equals, whenever you need to put an equal sign, you'll see the word is, results in, is the same as, or equivalent to. So here are the different parts of an equation so that you have the vocabulary for that. An equation is anything that has an equal sign. So the minute it has this, it is called an equation. So you can see it almost has the word equal in it, equation. So variables are letters that represent numbers. So you have two variables here. A coefficient is the number in front of a variable. So in this case, you see we have an 8. And in this case, you see we have a 3. And then a constant is just a number by itself. So in this case, you have -7 is your constant. Write an equal sign for an equation and an X for an expression or an I for an inequality. So what we're doing is we're looking at these things down here and we're trying to say, okay, is that an equation? Is it an expression? Or is it an inequality? So for something to be an equation, it has to have an equal sign. For something to be an inequality, it has to have an inequality sign. So let's start with those. So I see nothing here. So it's not an equation. It's not an inequality. So what that makes it is an expression. This says m is less than 9. So that's an inequality. Here we have an equal sign. So that means this is an equation. Whoops. I'm supposed to be putting an equal sign here. And -7, does that have an equal sign? Nope, so it's not an equation. Does it have an inequality sign? No, it's not an inequality. So in this case, it's going to be an expression. And this one also doesn't have an equal sign, doesn't have an inequality sign. So that makes it an expression. All right, so we're going to do some practice here. Write the algebraic expression or equation. So this says the product, so I know product means to multiply, of x and 7 is 4. So I know the word is means equal, and we want it to equal 4. Product of x and 7 means we're going to multiply these. So when we multiply a variable times a number, it's always written the number first, and we don't even put a symbol. It's just the number beside the letter, and that means to multiply. Number 2 says n cubed less than 12. So this is kind of tricky. The reason you know this is not an inequality is because it tells you it's either an expression or an equation. For it to be an inequality, it would have to say is less than, and this doesn't. This says n cubed. So cubed means you have an exponent of 3 less than 12. So if I want something that's less than 12, that means I'm going to start with 12 first and take that away. Because it's this amount less than 12. So that one's sort of tricky because even though this is written first, in the algebraic expression, it really comes second. This one says twice a number equals 15. So twice a number means 2 times something. And since it just says a number, I can use any variable I want. I'm going to use x because it's the most common. Equal means equal to, and it's 15. All right, so what you would do now is you're going to go into Gizmos, and these are the directions that you're going to follow. Click on Clever so you can log in. Work on using algebraic equations first, and then you're going to use algebraic expressions. So we're going to do equations first with equal signs, and then expression is not going to have an equal sign.